Bepin Chowdhury's Lapse of Memory by Satyajit Ray. You can get this story in Class 8 CBSE English 2 book. Satyajit Ray, born on 2nd May 1921, was a filmmaker, screenwriter, author, essayist, magazine editor, and music composer. Ray is famous for his films like পথের পাঁচালী, অপুর সংসার, চারুলতা, ঘরে বাইরে, হীরক রাজার দেশে, and many more. Ray created two fictional characters. One is Feluda, a detective, and number two is Professor Shonku, a scientist. His short stories were published as collection of 12 stories. Like this story, in all his stories have a single male protagonist who comes up with an interesting and mysterious plot. The reader can feel suspense throughout the whole story, and eventually it ends with an interesting and beautiful note. In this story, we will see a single man, Bipin Babu, is losing his memory not as a whole but in a very interesting way. A particular incident is missing from his brain. Okay, so the year of the story is 1958. Let's get into the story. Every Monday, on his way back from work, Bipin Chowdhury would drop in at Kalicharan's new market to buy books, crime stories, ghost stories, and thrillers. He had to buy at least 5 at a time to last him through the week. He lived alone, was not a good mixer, had few friends, and didn't like spending time in idle chat. So this is a brief description about Bipin Babu. Bipin Babu's full name is Bipin Chowdhury. He likes to read books like crime stories, ghost stories, thrillers. These are his favorites. And he doesn't like idle chatting with his friends. In other words, we can say that Bipin Babu is an introvert person. Every Monday after his office, he goes to Kalicharan's bookshop in New Market to buy books. That day, something strange happened with Bipin Babu. While he was reading books, he identified a person watching him. And that person's name is Porimal Ghosh. The person was watching him from a little bit far. Bipin Babu clearly doesn't know that person. I don't suppose you recognize me, said the mysterious person. Have we met before? Asked Bipin Babu. The man looked greatly surprised. We met every day for a whole week. I arranged for a car to take you to the Chowdhury Falls. In 1958 in Ranchi. My name is Porimal Ghosh. You don't remember me? I was your driver at Ranchi. I took you to the Chowdhury Falls every day. Next, Ranchi. Now Bipin Babu realized that it was not he, but this man who was making a mistake. Bipin Babu had never been to Ranchi. He had been at the point of going several times but never made it. Bipin Babu is confirmed that it was not he. He never ever went to Ranchi. He never seen Ranchi. He wanted to go there for several times but never made it. He smiled and said, "Do you know who I am?" This question is asked by Bipin Babu to Porimal Ghosh. Okay. Porimal Ghosh knows Bipin Babu properly, but the interesting thing is Whatever he is saying about Bipin Babu's Ranchi trip is wrong. The man raised his eyebrows, but bit his tongue and said, "Do I know you? Who doesn't know Bipin Chowdhury?" The man now laughed aloud. "What are you saying, Mr. Chowdhury? You had a fall in Chowdhury and cut your knee. I brought you iodine. I had fixed up a car for you to go to Netarhat the next day, but you couldn't because the pain in the knee. Can't you recall anything? Someone else you know was also in Ranchi at that time, Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee. You stayed in a bungalow. You said you didn't like hotel food and would prefer to have your meals cooked by a bawarchi. Mr. Mukherjee stayed with his sister. You had a big argument about the moon landing, remember? I will tell you more. You always carried a bag with your books in it on your sightseeing trips. Am I right or not?" So, when Porimal saw that everything is being rejected by Bipin Babu as false, he tried to give him more clues. Like Bipin Chowdhury fell in Hudru Falls, cut his right knee. He did not like to stay in a hotel. He took a partner at Ranchi, and that was Dinesh Mukherjee. Now these things like not staying in a hotel and always taking a partner to go to somewhere else, these two things are right about Bipin Chowdhury. And they stayed like Bipin Chowdhury and Dinesh Mukherjee stayed in a bungalow. Bipin Babu spoke quietly, his eyes still on the books. "Which month in 58 are you talking about?" The man said October. "No, sir," said Bipin Babu. I spent puja in 58 with a friend in Kanpur. You are making a mistake. Good day." Bipin Babu clearly made the conclusion that in 1958 October he was with a friend in Kanpur and was spending puja. But the man didn't go, nor did he stop talking. Very strange. One evening I had tea with you in a veranda of your bungalow. You spoke about your family. You said you had no children and that you had lost your wife 10 years ago. Your only brother had died insane, which is why you didn't want to visit mental hospital in Ranchi. When Bipin Babu had paid for the books and was leaving the shop, the man was still looking at him in utter disbelief. Now, at this point, whatever Porimal Ghosh said about Bipin Babu is absolutely true. The death of Bipin Babu's wife, pathetic illness and death of Bipin Babu's brother, and that has a connection with Ranchi. Everything is true. Only the trip to Ranchi is wrong. Very interesting. Bipin Babu's car was safely parked in Betram Street by the Lighthouse Cinema. He told the driver as he got into the car, "Just drive by the Ganga, will you, Sitaram?" Drive up the Strand Road. Bipin Babu regretted having paid so much attention to the intruder. He had never been to Ranchi, no question about it. It was inconceivable that he should forget such an incident which took place only 6 or 7 years ago. He had an excellent memory, unless Bipin Babu's head reeled. So, we can see that Bipin Babu cannot replace his thought of that mysterious person, Porimal Ghosh, whatever happened there in the bookstore. What he wants to try is to suppress the thought, but he could not. He was moving towards Ganga to calm his mind, but still he is fighting with his thoughts. He is trying to win over by saying that he has a very good memory. But still, he could not cope up that incident. Was he losing his mind? But how could that be? He was working daily in office. He was a big firm. It was a big firm, and he was doing a responsible job. He wasn't aware of anything ever going seriously wrong. Only today he spoke for half an hour at an important meeting, and yet the man knew a great deal about him. How? He even seemed to know some intimate details: the bag of books, wife's death, brother's insanity. The only mistake was about his having gone to Ranchi. Not a mistake, a deliberate lie. Bipin Babu was thinking that Porimal Ghosh was saying everything right, except his past tour to Ranchi. Everything is correct except that portion. Bipin Babu could not recall that properly. All he knows that he went to Kanpur at that moment for some time to his friend's house, Horidas Bagchi's place. We will go that later. All Bipin Babu had to do was write to no, there was no way of writing to Horidas. Bipin Babu suddenly remembered that Horidas had left with his wife for Japan some weeks ago, and he didn't have his address. Suddenly, Bipin Babu thought an idea that to write a letter to Horidas for the confirmation of his memory. But he could not do that because Horidas was already gone to Japan with his wife, and Bipin Babu does not know the address of there. Actually, in that time, there were no mobile phone or smartphone like us, so it was difficult for Bipin Babu. But where was the need for proof? He himself was fully aware that he hadn't been to Ranchi, and that was that. The river breeze was bracing, and yet a slight discomfort lingered in Bipin Babu's mind. Bipin Babu is continuously fighting with himself about his memory, and so the peaceful place of Ganga seemed to him uncomfortable and irritating because Bipin Babu's mind is not okay at that moment. Around Hastings, Bipin Babu decided to roll up his trousers and take a look at his right knee. There was a mark of an old inch long cut. It was impossible to tell when the injury had occurred. When he was in taxi, Bipin Babu just rolled up his right trousers to see whether any cut is there in his right knee, and magically he saw, yes, it's a cut. It's a cut in there of his right knee. But how the cut appeared is not known to him. He could not remember about it. Then Bipin Babu suddenly thought of Dinesh Mukherjee. The man had said that Dinesh was in Ranchi at the same time. The best thing surely would be to ask him. He lived quite near in Beninondon Street. What about going right now? But then, if he had really never been to Ranchi, what would Dinesh think? If Bipin Babu asked for a confirmation, he would probably conclude that Bipin Babu was going nuts. No, it would be ridiculous to ask him. And he knew how ruthless Dinesh's sarcasm could be. But Bipin Babu was thinking that if Dinesh misidentified Bipin Babu as a madman or a man going out of brain or something like that, well, Bipin Babu was thinking to call Dinesh Mukherjee for the confirmation of his memory because Porimal Ghosh said that Bipin Babu went to Ranchi with Dinesh Mukherjee. But at the same time, Bipin Babu was thinking that if Dinesh misidentified Bipin Babu as a man, or as a madman, or a man going out of brain or something like that, then he would make joke about Bipin Babu, because Dinesh Mukherjee is very what can I say, is a very pathetic man with his sarcasm. Next day in the office, Bipin Babu noticed that with every passing hour, the previous day's encounter was occupying more and more in his mind. If the man knew so much about Bipin Babu, how could he make such a mistake about the Ranchi trip? Just before lunch, Bipin Babu decided to ring up Dinesh Mukherjee. It was better to settle the question over the phone, at least the embarrassment on his face wouldn't show. So, next day, from his office, Bipin Chowdhury called Dinesh Mukherjee because he thought that this would be the best way, because he did not want to meet Dinesh. 235616. Bipin Babu dialed the number. Hello, is that Dinesh? This is Bipin here. Well, what's the news? I just wanted to find out if you recalled an incident which took place in 58. 58? What incident? Were you in Calcutta right now through that year? That's the first thing I have got to know. So Bipin Babu asked the question to Dinesh Mukherjee in a very safe and tricky way. He asked that whether Dinesh had been in Kolkata throughout this year or not. And to give this answer, Dinesh had to read from his personal diary. For a minute there was silence. Bipin Babu could feel that his heartbeat had gone up. He was sweating a little. Hello? Yes, I have got it. I had been out twice. Where? Once in February, nearby to Krishnanagar, to a nephew's wedding, and then. But you would know about this one. The trip to Ranchi. You were there too. That's all. But what's all this slave thing about? No, I just wanted to. Anyway, thanks. Bipin Babu slammed the receiver down and gripped his head with his hands. He felt in his head swimming. A chill seemed to spread over his body. There were sandwiches in his tiffin box, but he couldn't eat them. He had lost his appetite. Bipin Babu was in utter shock because Dinesh had replied that they really went to Ranchi in October 1958. But Bipin Babu does not remember that. So, our first part of this story ends here and will come soon with the second part. I will suggest to my viewers or listeners that if you are a Bengali, or if you can read a little bit of Bengali, you can read the original Bengali story from book, or you can listen to the audio stories that are available in YouTube in plenty of number, or you have to just search with Bipin Chowdhury Shriti Bhrom and you will get the results. So I will ask my viewers to go for that also. That will help. And with that, our video ends here. We'll come with another video, the second part of this story.